guys.
Yeah, we got Kevin Harvick. It's going to be fun to ride along with Kevin. He's starting in 22nd, so he's going to be right in the middle of the pack. Be fun watching this camera. Right near him is Alex Bowman. He also is in the middle of the pack, starting 19th with the Mountain Dew camera.
Well, a little different view for Austin Dillon. He's up in the 5th row, starting 9th, carrying the Coca-Cola on board.
And Denny Hamlin, he's got the Toyota on board. He has to make some work today. He's got to make something happen. It's going to be fun to see how he does that. Chase Elliott, he also has a Mountain Dew camera, and he's in a must-win situation, so we'll see some daring moves from this in-car camera.
Well, another driver needing points starts on the front row. Brad Keselowski with the Ford onboard, 7 points below the cut line. He'll be aggressive right from the start. And the other car on the front row, Martin Truex Jr. carrying the Sprint onboard, has 13-point advantage. So it's going to be interesting, Rick, to see how Truex and Keselowski choose to race, one above, one below the cut line.
True, Rick, and he's been running up at the front of the pack, which is where he needs to be. One interesting conversation I had with his spotter, Andy Houston, was about coming to pit road. There will be times today when they may not change 4 tires, take fuel only, or just change one side or the other. It's up to the spotter, in this case Andy Houston, to know if Austin Dillon locks his tires up coming to pit road, flat spots those tires, and makes it a required 4-tire stop. Just something to keep an eye on.
And Rick, what a great shot. That camera on the right side, you can see it all pitted up already from the dirt. And
to transfer into that top 8, the round of 8, he has no choice but to get in here and race. He's decided he's going to race, try to get himself to the front, but he is exactly where you don't want to be. If the wreck happens in the middle is where you don't want to be. It's hard, it's easy to get run over from behind. It's easy to not miss a wreck from in front of you. So right now, the 3 car is not in the position they really want to be in.
Yeah, but what does he do? Lift and go to the back? I like the idea of trying to go to the front.
He's saved him, but now he's worked himself back up into 10th spot. So he's found his way through the middle of the pack where it's really crazy and really wild, and getting himself slowly but steadily back in the pack.
Junior, you mentioned it. Your dad, one of the best at being able to drive.
Momentum that's going to give you the push. You see Brad is in front of the 41 car. That's the car that's closest to him. Brad's looking in the mirror all the way down the back straightaway. He'll peek down at the racetrack a little bit every once in a while, but he's looking in that mirror just about 95% of the lap. There's nothing to look at outside out front of the car, right? So he's looking in the mirror, seeing what lines are coming. His spotter's also telling him, this line's forming, that line's forming. The 41's going to come. The 24 is getting a push, but a 16 right here. So the 24 is going to need some defending. And so he's listening to that from his spotter, and he's going to jump in front of that guy. He's not really blocking because he's making the move early enough for it not to be aggressive. And he's just putting himself right in front of the car that's got the momentum. It's the simplest place to be in these plate races.
You use the word simple. You're doing it at 190+ miles an hour. A guy that's pretty close to the front, though, the 24 of Chase Elliott, Mike.
He can definitely see the front. He's been the leader for 5 laps so far here. And you see the bottom line now going by Chase Elliott. But Elliott has shown an uncanny knack for driving this racetrack. He told me this morning that some of that is because...
The situation you're in, you can go for broke. And the best success that I've had at these racetracks is when I raced every lap to lead it. Anytime I went to the back and tried to be calm and tried to ride in the back, I could never find a way to get back through the pack because once it gets down to 50, 40, 30 to go, it's 3 wide. There's nowhere to go. You're not going to make this miraculous run and knife your way through the field to get toward the lead. Everybody's trying to go to the lead at that point. So the best situation to be is in the top 3.
Of the front, about 11th right now, but those positions changed about every second. Dave.
The Kansas winner, of course, Rick, with nothing more to gain in terms of advancing to the next round. But when I talked with Rodney Childers about what they could do for their teammate Kurt Busch, he talked about not running with him today because those plans never seem to work out. The one thing that they can do, though, is win the race and make it all about points for the other guys. In that situation, Kurt has points coming in, not the most, but not the least, and that could help his teammate the most.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation being out there with teammates, how to work with your teammates, how can you work with your teammates. He says that he can't. He says he'd rather be his own man. That's the kind of way I like to race when I'm out on the plate tracks, making every decision to benefit me, right? Being greedy like we talk about.
Yeah, and that's why it's hard with teammates, because a teammate sees you in the mirror and he's expecting you're going to help him, but it doesn't help you to help him at that time, so you have to go help yourself. This is a self-serving sport. That's what it's about. It's about you and your team getting the best finish. If you can work with a teammate and it helps you, great.
Absolutely.
But you can't work with a teammate and it hurts you. You have to do what's best for you.
We've seen it work both ways. Brad Keselowski has showed us that he can go out and win the race, pretty much doing it on his own. But we also saw Joe Gibbs Racing at the Daytona 500 work together. They had 5 cars that were working together. They came to the last lap and decided, all right, we're racing the last lap. Whoever gets there first wins. Yep. It ended up being Denny Hamlin.
I have to say, you know, I find it purely coincidental that they were all up there together. The fact that they all had amazing race cars had a lot to do with that. Did they, you know, do the teammates all talk on Friday, Saturday, hey, we're going to work together? Yeah, they all do. We all do. But when it comes down to it in the race, you've got to make a lot of decisions to get yourself in position to win. You know, everybody is here to win. You got guys on the pit box, down in the pits, the guys, the road crew, the guys that built your car. They want you to win.
Good finish. Right now, he's 15 points back. So we talk about trying to find your way to the front and making those aggressive moves and how it's not easy. He's in 23rd. He's got to find a way to get some spots, start making moves, but it's way hard from back here.
Right.
It's much easier from making moves from 10th, 8th than it is from 23rd.
Yeah, but don't let this calmness before the storm fool you, Rick. Last fall, we saw this race go 133 green flag laps to start off, and then after that, 3 cautions to get to the checkered. It's not going to go green to the checkered. Everyone's still being nice with 80 to go, but there's got to be a point where the blocks get bigger, the runs get faster, the aggression gets tuned up. Even though it's already been an aggressive race near the front, it can only go up from here.
Yeah, all that side drafting and blocking that we've been talking about, it works great right up at the time it doesn't. And when it doesn't work, that's when we see cars, you know, running into each other, big wrecks, and because everybody's in a pack, and we talked about it when the race started, it's so easy to get caught up in a wreck that you had nothing to do. But a lot of those wrecks start from side drafting and blocking.
Yeah, it looks like Chase Elliott's pulled out a line from maybe 4th or 5th position to jump down in front of you.
Said Miami Tuesday, Wednesday as we ride along with Brad Keselowski right now. He told me earlier today that was such a blessing because I wasn't focused on Talladega. I was worried about trying to win a championship, Kelly.
What? This caution changes everything. Remember, 2.66 miles, but maybe the most important half a mile is this front stretch. When the cars come off turn 4, we have seen here in the past, while Dillon is a few rows back, it can be something as simple as which line gets the momentum through 1 and 2 and down the back stretch. Now, Dillon, unfortunately, might be pinned against the apron. The 11 may have options, but